All right.
Hello, people of Twitch chat. Can we be heard? You've missed so much wonderful ranting from us all about many, many things. Assuming we can be heard, let me just do a quick rundown. Zeri, no Zeri tonight. Victor, no Victor tonight. Victor Bug. Uh, no more
Yep.
Chemtech Soul. Rejoice! Woo! Uh, I think that about covers everything we've been going over. But we do have to go through that quick and keep things moving. I was just asking my wonderful casters to tell us a little bit about the teams we're seeing tonight in Glaive Black and Tufts University, if you guys want to pick it up where we left off.
Right. I was just mentioning that I'm looking forward to seeing stuff out of Glaive's Jungle and ADC. If I remember correctly from past splits, these have been strong points of their team before. So looking forward to seeing them more in tonight's game and possibly even more games in the future.
Yep, Demon and Kiba are making their debut, along with the rest of the roster of Glaive Black, who did not get to play their Week 1 matchup, as they did have a scheduling issue that's scheduled a few weeks out from now. So this is going to be their season debut and their stream debut, so definitely exciting for the players over on Glaive Black. On the other side, Kongman, we have Tufts, who had a pretty tough Week 1 matchup.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. I mean, they did get 2-0 last week, so as we know, they are looking for that rebound or the bounce back, as some people like to call it. It's just kind of an unfortunate thing, you take a loss, you just come back next week, do a lot better. But of course, knowing that we now have Victor out of the composition, which I know Glaive Totemax, he really likes playing Victor, so he's not going to have a good comfort pick there. Tufts mid laner, I believe, yeah. Barfer Supreme, I like that name. Uh, I actually took a look at his recently played. He's been playing a lot of Corki, so in the event Corki is somehow unbanned, there's a free win for Tufts, just Corki power. And I mean, we just know that he can also be really flexible onto Diana Yasuo, and their jungle Rogue Masquerader is just really, really strong.
Yeah, definitely the case. The mid jungle duo, the PowerPoint over there for Tufts, going to have to play through them. But speaking of PowerPoints for all of these teams, we are going to touch upon just real quickly amongst all of us some of our favorites coming through from each group in the Rivals series. There are 4 groups of 7 teams apiece, and just wanting to touch on getting people some more familiar with some of the teams we haven't seen a chance, or we haven't gotten a chance rather, to see on stream quite yet. You guys have any teams you want to touch on in any particular groups, any particular starting order?
I think it's pretty solid. Just go ahead and start with Group A. Makes sense.
Yeah,
For
go in
me,
alphabetical order, as it were.
absolutely. For me, my favorite coming out of that group is going to be Divine Ascension Emerald. I mean, even last split, they did amazingly well. I think they're heavy favorites to even get to playoffs and get to finals, in fact. Looking at it, the standings alone, you can't really look at that too much because there's not a lot of information to go off of there, but they did end week 1-1-0, so already starting out hot, and that's what you like to see when it comes to, these early predictions.
Absolutely the case.
Definitely just want to say for Group A, my pick would have to go to Sakura. Just a lot of their players I've actually kind of played with once in a while, even if it's just casuals. Just really like positive members, just all together, and just a simplest way to put it, they're a wholesome group, and that wholesomeness will carry them to finals.
I quite like that. We also did see Limitless Soccer go quite far in our New Year's kickoff tournament, ultimately losing 2-1 to the Dogs in the finals. I'm also going to have to go with Divine Ascension Emerald out of Group A, just because I had a chance to cast them a little bit in last split's playoffs, and they very much impressed me. So a great team there coming out of Group A. Group A. Moving over to Group B, my favorite coming out of that group is Oasis Esports Cloud. They had quite the run in last split's playoffs as well, and they're already getting off to a hot start. How are you guys feeling about Group B?
I'm actually on the same exact page. Oasis Esports Cloud is also my favorite to take the group. Just the main name that I want everybody to be paying attention to is Sergeant Hades. That guy is absolutely nuts. He was who everybody was excited for on that team last split. He did not disappoint at all when it came to his personal performance. That guy was pretty nuts. Of course, Mommy's guy is also a name. One, that's funny, and two is also just super impressive as well. So definitely gonna be wanting to keep an eye on that team going forward, and I don't doubt that they won't disappoint.
What about you, Kongman? Are you feeling the mommy's guy wave, or are you going to come through with a spicy,
I mean,
against the grain pick?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I was walking into Group B. I thought I was gonna be the only Oasis supporter here, so I'm trying to scroll through all of B. Like, is there someone else I could pick? So someone else has some confidence. But nah, I gotta say it's Oasis, 100%.
Absolutely. So moving on to group number C. Personally, I'm a big fan of Rising Tide Tsunami. I commented about that on that last week. That's a very well-run org. I have a great relationship with a lot of the players over there, and I've had a chance to get to cast a lot of that organization's teams in many different leagues and at many different levels. I just really like the way they're assembled. I like the way they're run. But they haven't even played a single game in VRS yet, so in terms of favorites, as much as I do enjoy the Rising Tide guys and want to give them a shout out, I'm going to have to go with Dorado Gaming Zeta. We saw them come out swinging last week on the stream in week number 1, absolutely pummeling their opponents, and they won the New Year's kickoff tournament. I feel like the dogs are just the boys right now until proven otherwise.
Yeah, that definitely is how it feels. I mean, Dorado was good last split. We just saw them be really good this split. The only one that I could see contesting them would in fact be Rising Tide Tsunami, but when it all boils down to it, I just think Dorado has the edge. When they do finally meet up in the regular season, I think that's when we'll see. Whoever wins that match, I think wins the group. So we'll have to see until then who is able to maybe, edge out a few more wins here and there.
Yeah. Kongman, you have anything in particular you want to comment about in Group C?
I'm pretty sure Dogs is going to be taking this one, but they're actually not my favorite going into this. My favorite is actually going to be going to Diversity Esports. They just have a nice little range of different ranks on their team to help show that we can all work together as a team. And also, my name is Cogman. Their logo is a monkey playing a video game. I mean, they're literally playing. Yeah, they're playing favoritism here. I mean, I have to pick it. So Diversity Esports is my favorite in Group C.
I gotta say, I love your approach. It's very anime in that it's all about the friendship team. It's all about the team you can believe in and feel good supporting. It's all about the shonen protagonist, and not necessarily the mathematically best team on paper. And yeah, I appreciate that. That's a very nice way of looking at the world. We could all learn a thing or two from Kongman about how to analyze League of Legends. And we're going to have to turn to that expertise once again moving into Group D, because this is the group where I know the least about these teams, and we're going to get a nice preview of it tonight, as it is a Group D matchup we are previewing towards a team that unfortunately is sitting right now at the bottom of the pack due to that Week 1 loss in the side of Tufts University, versus a team that's expected to be pretty good with returning players like Demon and Kiba in GLV Black. Who are we looking at as the favorite out of Group D, guys?
For me, this one was also pretty difficult just because there wasn't a lot of information to go off of, but I'll probably just go ahead. I was thinking about Degenerate Esports Reformed because they did have a very convincing series win over Tufts University, so I have to give them a shout out. But personally, I see GLV Black being the favorites overall in this group. However, I think this is the one that can be, or that has the most opportunity to be volatile. I think any of these teams can beat anyone else, and it'll be really interesting to watch going forward. And because we don't know so much about these teams, it really does have that, extra opportunity to be a lot more interesting when it comes to the standings a few weeks from now.
Yeah, definitely see that angle on it. Is one to keep our eyes on, and a pretty special treat that we get to start off with a big Group D matchup here tonight. Kongman, I can't wait to hear your very unique perspective on which of these teams is going to win the group based off of their logo. If I had to bet, I'm going to say you're going with Explosive Cask. I feel like that's...
Well, Explosive Cask is my pick, but not because of their logo.
So you know what? I'll take it.
The reason I'm picking Explosive Cast is because I actually took a look at all of Group D with all of the rosters and everything, and Explosive Cast has some of the most weirdest picks, like, for their characters. Like, right now I'm looking at Ape on Red, their jungle player. He has 3 games of jungle played with Garen. And if we're being honest, that could be something very interesting. Like, we're looking at top, we see Shen, Fiora, that's kind of standard, but then we also see Corki top. That could be something interesting.
We have seen a few of those Corki top flexes in Pro, of course, but it's definitely on the less common side. I think Broken Blade pulled that one out in week 1 of the LEC. I think we also saw it in Korea, maybe KT. I can't remember exactly, but definitely a fun one to watch. You're already selling me on this roster.
I mean, even looking down at their support player, Hestia X, I see Victor support. I mean, that's just interesting in and of itself. Like, I mean,
I don't know how to feel about that one.
So, I mean, I got to go with Explosive Cask. I mean, not just because, you know, the logo is Gragas, but I mean, it's just, you know, that hero pool.
Very nice, very
Wow.
nice. After hearing that, I think you've made a believer out of me in Group D. I'm also going to keep my eyes on Explosive Cask. But that is about all the time we have for looking through the groups and talking about power rankings, because we do have to give a little bit of an intro on these teams. We have talked it over a little bit, but we're getting about ready to get into game shortly. So let's refocus more on the series at hand. Talk who we think is the favorite coming out here tonight, and just do a little bit more of an analysis of where each of these teams are coming from. Starting, of course, with Tufts, because we have more data to go off of in week number 1.
Yeah, definitely just looking at Tufts, like how I stated earlier. I don't know if we were muted during that weird time period or not, but they did get 2-0'd last week. It's very unfortunate, so of course they are looking for that big bounce back, the potential to get their season with second week with a win, so they'd be going 1-1, which is still a good start to the season. Looking at Tufts into Glaive, like I said, they're really going to be focusing on running jungle mid. Those are their 2 big primary targets, and of course they know Glaive is going to be big with ADC support that entire bot lane. Thinking about this, because you have the jungler who's going to be everywhere rather than just focusing bot lane, I think Tufts could potentially pull this one out.
Yeah, a nice endorsement of Tufts. Moving over to Glaive Black, and again, it's a little bit fuzzy on what we've already touched on, what we haven't, because there was that period of time where we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. But Shogun, if there's just any comments you want to make on the side of Glaive Black and what we can expect from them, it's obviously a little bit harder because, as I think we mentioned earlier, they didn't actually get to play their week 1 matchup yet, so they have a little bit of a surprise factor, a little bit of aura and mystique coming in to what is effectively their week number 1 matchup here. Do we have Shogun?
There we go.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
Another difficulty.
I was coughing a little bit earlier. Didn't want that to come across. But anyway, talking about Glaive's bot lane again, I already touched on this a little bit, but I haven't really gone in depth of what Kiba's been doing this season. And something to point out is he's playing a lot of Caitlyn recently, which isn't something that I really played last season. So he is trying to broaden those horizons. He played the Caitlyn a little bit, but he's trying to make sure that it's up to date now so that he can adapt to the meta, and I think that's something really important to look in. And he can still play some of those scaling champions that he's played before. He can still bring out the Kai'Sa, the Ezreal, if the situation calls for it, or even the Jinx if it's left up, but I don't really think that's an ADC that anybody should be leaving up in this meta, so excited to see what he can do on the Caitlyn if it's given to him, or any of the other champions that he has in his arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. The case is so important to be on that long-range AD carry, hyper carry meta that we are in with the Jinx, the Caitlyn, the AFO, and the Jhin, I guess you could say, rounds out that quartet. But let's codify some of this analysis now about these 2 individual teams, more specifically into predictions. What do you guys got for me? Who's taking it home tonight? Shogun, if you want to start off.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2-1 for the side of Glaive Esports Black. I don't see... I can see Tufts taking a game off of them, but I think if they do, Glaive has the ability to bounce back, adapt a little bit more, and should be able to, whether it be the first one that they drop, just go ahead and 2-0 from there, or, you know, drop a game in the middle, be able to bounce back right after that one. So that's going to be my prediction. I think 2-1 is pretty safe assumption there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm on the same boat as you. I'm Glaive Black all the way. But if chat disagrees, I do believe we have a poll going for series score right now, or at least it will be coming in just a second here, that you can countermand us and then make fun of us if we're all wrong. But I'm going 2-1, or even maybe even more likely 2-0. Glaive Black. I think they're just the stronger team coming out tonight. Although I'm hoping for a nice 3-game series. I'm hoping Tufts pulls out the upset. Kongman, I think I know which way you're leaning, but why don't you go ahead and hit us with that spicy prediction tech of yours, your very special way of viewing predictions in the game, and let us know which way
I
you think the
mean,
wind's blowing.
unfortunately, like last week where we all picked Dorado, I'm going to have to be going the opposite direction of both of you and picking Tufts on this one. I do think it is going to be a 3-game series like we are hoping it would be instead of a quick 2-0 victory. So I do believe it's going to be Tufts 2-1. The jungle mid lane is just really, really good in this meta right now. We do know that ADC is super oppressive though. So as long as the jungler can help keep their ADC alive and help farm the bot lane, it's going to go the way of Tufts pretty easily.
Right. I like to get a little bit of that conflict, like to get a little bit of that contrast. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the series preview poll out just yet. But oh, actually, here it is. It's coming. It's a going. It's in the chat for you all to vote on, and democratically decide which of us is really smart and which of us knows absolutely nothing about this game. So have fun with that condemnation of us all. But yeah, it should just be a really good series all around. Going to be interesting to focus on these individual PowerPoints that you guys mentioned, specifically the bot lane for Glaive and the mid jungle duo for the side of Tufts. Any sort of predictions on what we should be expecting in the draft for Game 1 here, especially with the Victor taken away? Any adaptations you'd like to see, or ways of making sure each of these teams is playing to their strengths?
I think we're going to see a Corki ban.
Yep. I was going to say something very similar. I thought a Corki ban was pretty standard, especially with the Victor being disabled. I think Jinx being banned away would be smart. I think Red Side has to ban Jinx in a situation, or you could make Blue Side pick between one of those two. So you leave Corki and Jinx up, and you take whichever one uh, is left up. So I think that's also a decent strategy coming into this one. But I think, getting rid of both of those might be a solid option as well.
Yeah, definitely the case, and we will see in just a moment when draft is available. Just waiting on confirmation that we are ready to throw it over to the draft. But Kongman, any other draft predictions you have?
Like I said, we do know that Tufts University, their mid laner, really likes to play Diana Yasuo, so I do believe we might be seeing one of those, unless Glaive is just going to auto ban Corki, Diana, Yasuo, and just totally lock out the mid laner, which could happen, but then that's just going to give more opportunities to everyone else. And then we do also know that Rogue Masquerader, their jungler, is a really big Viego player. So if he's given Viego, it might just be fun for him.
Yeah, Viego definitely one that can have big impact. As a multi-role flex, we don't really see as much anymore, but out of the jungle for sure, in the hands of Rogue Masquerader. But definitely going to be an interesting one to see. As I'm just waiting to see if we have draft ready. I haven't seen them start it yet. All right, we are still waiting a few minutes here on draft. Sorry for the delay, folks. I guess while we have the extra time to waste, though, how's 12-2 been treating you guys individually? Have you found any spicy picks that you're hoping people will be picking up here tonight? Personally, I'm a big fan of the Glacial Augment Janna. Not so much the Smite Janna top, but
I've always been a big fan of my little spicy jungle pick, and for all of my friends from the Cloud9 training grounds that are here watching me, you all know it, true, tried and well. It's my favorite Urgot jungle. It's just so good.
Okay.
I just slowly walk at you, press my E, flip you over into my jungle. Suddenly we have the advantage because you're out of position. Throw an R, you're dead. And
I
I'm
remember
just
you
everywhere.
mentioning this last week, and I had actually tried that in solo queue recently, and our bot laner gave us first blood and rage quit, so I wound up going like 1-4 because we just had to FF by like 10 minutes. So I blame you personally.
What?
You put that curse on on my solo queue game, and I will never forgive you. But Shogun, you doing anything spicy in solo queue recently? You got any Smite Janatops with Glacial Augment or anything like that?
No, I just run Lulu if my ADC runs Jinx or Vayne, and I win the game in a very vanilla, easy way. Or if I need to win the lane myself, need to be Thanos and grab the Infinity Gauntlet, I'll just play like Leona, I'll play Alistar, Thresh, something like that, something that can, put the ADC on my back and carry the game. That's all I do. I don't do anything fancy. I don't do anything crazy. Uh, the most I would do is maybe like, mess around, play a Zeri game, ADC. Oh, my bad. I did do something a little weird. I've been playing with my duo. We did Senna Veigar bot lane, or I was farming as Veigar. That was fun. That was good.
It
That is a
sounds
very annoying
amazing.
to
I
do.
hate to cut you off, but we are ready to throw it over to draft. I do like the Son of Vagar, though. I've played that one before. We'll see if either of our teams here tonight is feeling inspired with that buffed up Senna here on 12-2. But we are ready for draft. I'm ready to leave it in your capable hands, my wonderful casters. I will see everybody after the game, and I hope it is a banger to kick off this series here in week 2.